I came home from my shift at the diner around 11:30 p.m. The kind of quiet that fills an empty house felt wrong. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind, like the silence knew something I didn't. At first, I thought they were asleep. But when I walked past the kitchen, I saw the note. Folded once. Sitting neatly on the counter beside a half-empty coffee mug that was still warm. I recognized my mother's handwriting before I even picked it up. We had to go. It's better this way. Please understand. Don't try to find us. No goodbye. No explanation. Just ink on paper and a house stripped of everything but my room. I was 17. I checked every room like maybe they'd just forgotten something. But the closets were empty. The garage too. Even the pictures were gone from the walls, like they'd never wanted proof they'd lived here. Like I wasn't supposed to remember either. I sat down at the kitchen table and stared at the note for what felt like hours. At some point, the fridge kicked on and made me jump. That's when it hit me. They weren't coming back. Not tomorrow. Not ever. I didn't cry. Not then. I just sat in that hollow house trying to figure out what a kid does when their whole family decides they're not worth staying for. That night, I slept with my shoes on. The next morning, I called every number I knew. No one answered. Even the few friends I had said they didn't want to get involved. I went to school that Monday like nothing happened because if I stopped moving, I was afraid I'd fall apart. By Friday, the electricity was off. By Sunday, I'd sold my gaming console for groceries. The real kicker? My birthday was the next week. I got a single text from my aunt. Hope you're okay. Happy birthday. No call. No invite. Not even a question. That was the moment I understood. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't some emergency. They chose to leave me behind. But if they thought I'd disappear, they were wrong. I started sleeping with my backpack under my pillow, not because I was scared someone would steal it, but because it was everything I had left. A few clothes, a spiral notebook, my dad's old flannel shirt, and the last $28 I hadn't touched yet. That flannel still smelled like motor oil and campfires. He used to wear it on weekends before they all decided I didn't matter. School didn't notice anything. Or maybe they did, maybe they just didn't care enough to ask. I kept my head down, turned in assignments, and showered in the locker room before first period. The trick was blending in. I got good at it. Too good, maybe. I would spend hours at the public library after school. It had heat, working outlets, and no one asked questions as long as you kept your voice down. I'd read about people who started with nothing and built something out of it. Jobs, companies, whole new lives. I started writing down ideas. Business plans I didn't have the resources to start. Skills I could learn for free online. I told myself, you just have to make it to 18. Then it's your game. Nights were the worst. I stayed with a girl I barely knew from science class for 2 nights until her mom caught on. Then it was couches. An abandoned car in a parking lot for 1 weekend. After that, I found an old church that left the back stairwell unlocked. It was dry, at least. Cold, but dry. One night, as I curled up against the wall under that flannel, I remember thinking, they're probably sitting around a table right now, wherever they are, eating dinner, laughing, like they didn't just erase me. But I wasn't broken. I was quiet, focused. A storm with no lightning yet. I got a job bussing tables at a small restaurant across town. Paid in cash. No questions. I worked 6 days a week after school and picked up doubles on weekends. I saved every dime. No new shoes. No streaming accounts. Just rent money for the future, for the life I was building in silence. Every time I looked at that note they left, I didn't feel pain anymore. I felt fuel. By the time I turned 18, I had saved just under $4,000. Not much, but enough to get out of survival mode. I rented a tiny room in a shared house with 3 other people, all older, all busy with their own problems. No one asked questions. It was perfect. I bought a cheap laptop from a pawn shop. It ran hot and the fan screamed like a dying animal, but it worked. Nights after shifts, I sat at the kitchen table with headphones on, teaching myself everything I could. Coding basics, Excel formulas, graphic design, digital marketing, whatever I could learn for free. Failure wasn't an option. I couldn't go back. There was no home to return to. Some people dream about making it big. I didn't care about big. I wanted stable. I wanted a lock on my door and bills in my name, and the kind of life no one could just walk away from. That spring, I found a remote internship. It didn't pay, but it gave me a title to put on my resume. I built their website for free and helped fix their email system. 2 months later, they referred me to a small business that did pay, not much, but real money. It felt unreal getting that first direct deposit. I stared at it for an hour before I touched it. I quit the restaurant. Not because I hated it, but because I saw a way forward. A way out. For the first time since the night they left me, I felt like I was steering my own life. One weekend, while cleaning out my backpack, I found the folded note again. The paper was soft at the creases from being opened so many times. I read it once more. This time, I didn't feel angry. I just felt distant, like it had happened to someone else. I went quiet on social media, not that I had much presence. I didn't want anyone from the past watching. I wanted them to forget me, because one day, if they ever looked me up, I wanted it to be a surprise. Not the kind they could prepare for. The kind that stings. The kind that says, you thought I'd disappear, but here I am. And I'm not done. I kept my life small and sharp. Rent, food, work. No parties. No distractions. I lived like someone being chased, maybe because in a way, I was. Not by people, but by the version of me that almost didn't make it. I took freelance gigs wherever I could find them. Built websites for local businesses, managed social media accounts, edited videos. I made enough to stay afloat. Some months were tighter than others. I ate a lot of rice and frozen vegetables. But the rent was always paid, and the lights stayed on. That alone felt like a kind of luxury. I created a portfolio. Nothing fancy, just clean and professional. I sent it to everyone. Most never replied. A few did, and those few opened doors. At 20, I landed a long-term contract with a growing startup. They needed someone to handle their digital branding. I pitched them a full rework of their site, plus a new content plan. They said yes. I tripled my income overnight. That same week, I bought my first mattress. Not from Craigslist. Not secondhand. A real mattress, new. I didn't realize how much my back hurt until I laid on something that didn't feel like a sidewalk. I cried that night, not because I was sad, just because I could finally exhale. I started walking different. Shoulders back. Chin up. Not cocky. Just grounded. Like I belonged in the world again. People at work started asking where I went to college. I'd smile and say, I didn't. I built my own path. They usually paused after that. Some were impressed. Others confused. But no one looked down on me. Because I had results. And in this world, results speak louder than origin stories. One evening, while scrolling job listings, out of habit more than need, I saw a familiar last name. My brother. He had just been hired at a firm 2 states over. His bio said he was passionate about family and community. I sat there staring at those words, trying to figure out if he even remembered the night they left, or if he just edited the story in his head until he came out clean. I didn't reach out. I just bookmarked the page. Because I knew, eventually, they'd come looking. And I needed to be ready. It started with a message request. I almost deleted it without reading. Just a name I hadn't seen in years, my aunt, the same one who sent that dry birthday text 2 years back. The subject line read, "Hope you're doing well." Innocent enough. But my gut twisted the second I saw it. I clicked. Your mother wanted me to reach out. She's been thinking about you. They're living in Arizona now. She says she regrets how things happened. No apology. Just regret. Like someone looking at old photos, not the kid they left behind. I didn't answer. 2 weeks later, my brother found me on LinkedIn. His message was longer. Smoother. Practiced. I've been following your work. Really impressive stuff. I think it's time we talked. There's a lot you don't understand about why things happened the way they did. I stared at that line for a while. Why things happened the way they did? As if I'd misunderstood the part where they packed up everything but me and vanished into the night. The younger version of me might have clung to those messages. Might have read them again and again, waiting for something more, some deeper truth, some clean apology, some sign that I mattered. But I wasn't that kid anymore. I didn't need their version of closure. I had my own. It came in rent receipts with my name on them, in contracts I negotiated myself, in the life I built from nothing. Still, the part of me that kept the note in a drawer couldn't help wondering. Why now? I went quiet for a few days. Focused on work. Hit deadlines. Filed invoices. Ate dinner alone, like always, but the silence felt different. Less peaceful. Like someone had opened a window I'd nailed shut. Then, on a rainy Thursday morning, my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. But I played it back immediately. It was her. My mother. I know you probably hate me. I just want to explain. Please call me back. We're not asking for anything. We just want to reconnect. They say time heals everything. That's a lie. Time just gives you space to decide what kind of scar you want to carry. And I was done carrying theirs. I didn't answer right away. I let a week pass. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I wanted to make sure I said it as me, not the wounded kid still hoping they'd say the right thing. That version of me was long gone. What they were going to get now was someone who had walked through the fire and made a home on the other side. I called on a Sunday afternoon. She picked up before the second ring. Hello, is this? Yes, it's me. There was a pause, the kind that fills a room like fog. Then her voice, smaller than I remembered. I didn't think you'd call. I'm only calling once. I heard her breathe in sharply, like she'd been preparing for something softer. I know we hurt you. I know leaving like that, it was wrong. But we were scared. We didn't know how to help you anymore. You didn't have to help. You just had to stay? Or say something. Anything. Silence again. I thought maybe one day we'd get the chance to fix things. This isn't that day, I said quietly. You didn't check on me when I was sleeping in stairwells. You didn't call when I turned 18. You weren't there when I made something out of nothing. We didn't know how to reach you. You didn't try. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth landed louder than any anger could. Your brother wants to talk too. He says he saw you online. He's proud of you. Proud, I repeated. That's convenient. He misses you. Tell him I missed the version of him that didn't leave. There was a long, aching pause. So what now? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. I breathed in, slowly. This was the part that mattered most. Now, nothing. You don't get access to me just because I became someone worth knowing. You walked out. I built something alone. And I'm keeping it that way. Can't we just start over? No. I hung up. Not out of hate. Out of peace. Because some things don't deserve a sequel. They deserve closure. And I had just written mine. After that call, I didn't hear from them again. No more voicemails. No more messages through relatives. They got the message. Or maybe they just didn't know what to do with someone who no longer needed their approval or their excuses. And that was the real shift. I didn't need anything from them. I'd already built everything they couldn't give me. I moved cities that summer. Found a loft with high ceilings and sun that poured in like forgiveness. Signed the lease myself. No co-signer. No help. My name, just mine, on every page. Every morning, I brewed my own coffee, sat by the window, and opened my laptop to do work I cared about. Clients I respected. Projects that challenged me. People who saw me. One evening, I opened that drawer again, the one where I used to keep the note. It wasn't there. At some point during a move, I must have thrown it away without noticing. That used to be unimaginable. But now, I didn't need it to remember who I was. Or who I'd become. Sometimes people ask me about my background. I tell them what's true, but not everything. Not because I'm hiding, but because I've learned that some pain isn't meant to be shared. Some of it is just meant to make you stronger. And it did. I don't live with bitterness. I don't carry anger like a shield. I carry discipline. I carry clarity. I carry the calm that comes from knowing that every step forward was mine alone, not owed to anyone, not borrowed, not gifted. One night, I saw a photo online, my brother's wedding. My mother was in it, smiling, hands folded just right for the camera. Picture perfect. I didn't feel a thing. Not sadness. Not spite. Just distance. And freedom. Because they chose their story. And I chose mine.